I had all the clients and none of the experience. So I had to actually hire attorneys to do the work and teach me how to do the work. So I ended up with a law firm before I knew how to practice law. We have clients in 46 or 47 states and on 4 continents. Most of it's cannabis law. We've done something like 800 acquisitions over the last 10 years, mostly in cannabis. My rule with when the members or partners in a business are going to litigate is there's not enough money in the company. There's too much money in the company.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Neil Juneja, founder and managing partner at Gleam Law. Neil, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
My distinct pleasure. Appreciate you spending some time with us on Business Ninjas. Please tell us a bit about yourself and about Gleam Law.
Sure. So I started this law firm in approximately 2009 after graduating law school. It was kind of an interesting path to that, to where we are today. Effectively, I graduated law school and I was already running and operating a business. I did lighting production for festivals, concert tours, large corporate gigs. And I realized that I should probably follow my career, in which case I didn't after law school. I finished a physics degree to become patent bar eligible.
Wow.
The idea being, actually, let's take it another step back. Prior to law school, I was IT director in Vail of a large company. I built the third largest wide area network on the planet. I was at the top of my career, and for some reason, I went to law school, mostly on a dare, and they gave me a scholarship. I went to law school, and my first year, I'm told you need to apply for internships. So I sent a resume to every firm, every law firm that comes up. We type in law firm Seattle, and I got a rejection letter and a rejection letter and a rejection letter. And I don't know why this is going on. I was at the top of my field. So I decided to narrow the field further and become a patent attorney at the time. So I went ahead and did the physics degree while I was in law school. And I also started my business while I was in law school. And by the time I graduated law school, I had another year of physics left at UW. And I finished that, took the patent bar, took the state bar, and my business, my lighting company was paying all of my bills. I was working pretty hard at it and had $1 million in inventory, and we were doing all of the gigs. And I realized if I didn't follow law, people are going to wonder why when I eventually do it in 5 or 10 years. So I go ahead and brush off the old resume, and clients would call me, "Hey, we need you to do this 5-stage gig. Can you do it?" "No, I'm sorry. I just can't do this. I need to follow my career." "Well, what's your career?" "Well, I'm a lawyer." "Oh, you're a lawyer? We need a lawyer." And suddenly I had a whole batch of clients and I have no idea how to practice law. So I went to some firms and said, I'll bring in these clients, can you help me do this? And I couldn't really strike a deal that worked for me. So I hung out a shingle. And I had all the clients and none of the experience. So I had to actually hire attorneys to do the work and teach me how to do the work. So I ended up with a law firm before I knew how to practice law. So that's what happened with Gleam. And it was originally going to be intellectual property focused. So it was going to be called Gleam IP, patent law, intellectual property, and trademarks, and some entertainment law. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do. So I just called it Gleam Law. And and ended up working out. But we really did door law. Whatever comes in the door, you do. And then in approximately 2012, we passed what's called I-502, the Initiative 502, which was on the same day passed similar in Colorado and Washington for the legalization of cannabis. So at this time, I'm running my firm. And I'm talking to other attorneys. What should I do? Everybody's telling me to do cannabis law. And I said, no. I come from that culture. I don't want to slum it. I'm a patent attorney. So I avoided it for a couple of years, and we're still doing a lot of trademark work and a little bit of patent work in cannabis. And the first cannabis shop is my client. I represented all of his other businesses. He got the first license, and so I'm on CNN that morning when the first shop opened, and I'm in Time Magazine. I'm in Newsweek, and I come back to the office, and I brainstorm. I met with people there. And I'm like, so how do I leverage this? And the end was, oh, looks like I'm a cannabis law firm now. I know all of the background of it. We do some of the work. Let's just lean into this hard. So then I fired everybody and hired all the cannabis attorneys in town and ran with the ball. And from there, we represent about a third of the industry, the cannabis industry in Washington State. We represent a good bit in Oregon, good bit in Washington. We have clients in 46 or 47 states and on 4 continents. Most of it's cannabis law. Some of it's fun stuff, like we represented the first chain of female driving schools in Saudi Arabia and got those off the ground. That was one that was really a passion project for us because it really fits what we want to do. So now a lot of our work is in commercial litigation, intellectual property, business law. I love working with small businesses. We do a bit of appeals, a little bit of real estate. So it varies. We try to do anything a business needs. Most of it tends to be fighting.
That is far more of a breadcrumb trail to a career path than a 1 + 1 = 2. That's for sure. What percentage of your practice is still in the cannabis arena now?
It fell to about 30% at one point. So the cannabis industry gets it ends up collapsing in each state. So it gets hyper capitalized, hyper competitive, and then the margins decrease as people get far more productive in the product. So they're able to bring down the cost quite a bit. And when you're at 100% market saturation, there's only so much cannabis people can smoke in any state. So we came down to about 30% after COVID. The first year of COVID was huge because people were laid off. They were given a $600 a week unemployment bump, and they had nothing to do but sit around and smoke cannabis. So the first year of COVID was a killer, amazing year for cannabis companies and those related to cannabis companies, those ancillary businesses. And after that, everything leveled off and came down. About 75% of the businesses are no longer around. So we came down to about a third. We ended up merging or acquiring one of our big competitors. So we're probably closer to about 40 to 50% cannabis right now.
Yeah, so it got oversaturated, over competitive. Smaller companies found out it's very difficult to promote yourselves in social media because you're constantly getting shut down and things like that. Is that still the case? Are they still real strict guidelines about promotions?
Yeah, it varies across the board. I mean, even we have issues getting Google ads run at times. So absolutely, it's a constant battle there. It just varies on the platform.
Gotcha. Okay. And okay, so you're running about, let's say, 40-ish% in that industry. What are the most common problems you're solving for your clients?
We're doing a couple tribal compacts related to tribal contracts. I find quite a bit of fun. We have some interesting hemp and cannabis activities, a lot of trademark work as far as licensures for cannabis and acquisitions, a few mergers, but mostly acquisitions. We've done something like 800 acquisitions over the last 10 years, mostly in cannabis, and then quite a bit of fighting. And my rule with when the members or partners in a business are going to litigate is there's not enough money in the company, there's too much money in the company. And then it just ends up what we call a business divorce, and it ends up a fight over the assets or how do you pay out the other members as you guys can no longer get along. And I mean, this is traditional in business. It's a marriage. Whenever you're getting into bed with somebody and opening a business together or investing, and somebody brings a skill set, I know how to grow, I know how to market, I know logistics, and hey, I have the money, and I hear there's a lot of money in cannabis. You're going to have a divorce generally. I mean, it's pretty difficult. And a lot of early deals were literally on handshakes. We had a deal we litigated that was literally a napkin signed at a bar. And I mean, that counts, that had to be dealt with.
Hey, many marriages that ended in divorce were started over a bar napkin as well, right? Similar level of vetting on the front end of a relationship. How's that? What's the majority of the rest of your, obviously there's 60% still in play in terms of the case law that you're working on. What's that about?
So most of it is commercial litigation. We've got the first Patent Troll Protection Act claim against the Attorney General in federal court. So we represent the patent holder. So that's been going on for years, and we've gotten quite a bit of media attention for that. Quite a bit of just business litigation, membership dispute, contract disputes, some real estate stuff, some appeals.
Gotcha. And what differentiates Gleam Law aside from the world's most circuitous route to a law practice? What differentiates you from your competitors?
I mean, if we want to look at the cannabis angle, we started it even prior to my involvement opening the first store. One of our members of the firm here is a second-ranking Democrat in the House in Washington, and prior to that, he worked for the Drug Policy Reform Committee and helped write model laws years before that kind of became the basis of the original legalization. So we are the guys and girls, the men and women of cannabis. And so outside of that, I mean, with our work, all of our top partners have 17 plus years experience in their field. They've been doing it quite a long time. So I'm 17 years as well. So in that regard, I mean, it's kind of the small firm feel with the large firm experience and capabilities, and we'll go toe to toe with anyone. And never felt outclassed.
Excellent. Hey, it's a day and age where you got to tell your stories so that people know who you are and how to find you. What role has content played in the growth of Gleam Law?
So, I mean, we've always put quite a bit of oomph behind marketing. We used to have an internal marketing team and director, but the weird thing with law firms, and this is a running joke, is you never actually know if your marketing team is effective or not, because law is a personal relationship business. So how things come in and how you actually qualify it, it's very easy to do the ROI on per click, because you're going to have pages with separate phone numbers, emails, intake forms. So you can track that. You can track phone numbers. But in the end, it's a personal relationship business. So a lot of your public persona is indirect. You meet somebody in an event, you receive a card, you go and you look at their items and you call them directly. How did you know that your website, your blogs, your podcast interviews, your talks at CLEs or at large conferences were integral in that? And you really never know. So it really is you work every angle except print media. Print media is not really our cup of tea. That one you can look at and say, okay, we've received no benefit from that, in my opinion. So we really try to do everything and maintain pretty good marketing persona and a story and a narrative. I think we're a little behind on the Instagram, but I mean, our Instagram was set up because somebody had a snake in the office, and I'm like, really, a snake? Is that too cliche? Why do you have a pet snake? So,
you can talk about a snake on Instagram, but you can't really talk about cannabis on Instagram. Right?
Correct.
Do I assume that referral and word of mouth, is usually strong for a business, but when you get into legal matters, not everybody is, hey, I just got sued, I had this great attorney, you should use them. It's not necessarily always the pathway. Is that the case, or do you get a fair bit of referrals and word of mouth business?
When I started, I said I met with a number of attorneys. I did a lot of research, and I kept coming across this number that 70% of your clients come from other attorneys. And I'm like, you know what? That's you guys. I'm going to reinvent this. 70% of my clients come from other attorneys.
Asked and answered, counselor. So,
we keep trying to reinvent marketing now and again, and we've got some pretty cutting edge approaches that I am not going to share. But and some are extremely effective. And we do lots of fun things too. We do parties for clients, potential clients, or lawyers at really cool spaces. Like we use a car showroom for one of them that's indoor, outdoor. That's just beautiful. It's called The Shop. There's two in Texas, and there's one in Seattle that has basically, if you're a member, there's lifts and wash bays and cigar lounges, and you can just work on your car. It's great atmosphere. So we usually clear out the Ferraris and do it in there. So we try to have some fun with it. And I take people out on my boat for lawyer happy hours or potential clients. The funny part about that is you put the potential client on the boat and they're not going to get let off until they sign. Obviously,
Here in international waters, all bets are off out here.
So we have lots of fun with it. I call it the law firm that whiskey built, because I would, when I was getting started, I would just Google random practice areas, entertainment law, mergers and acquisitions, bankruptcy, whatever. Top couple attorneys, take them out to happy hour. And so, I was doing 3 happy hours a week, just to meet attorneys. And I think networking is a dirty word. That's what they teach you in law school. You need to go network. No. That's a transactional game. That's a, what can I get out of you? It feels desperate and I really don't like it. I'm out there to make friends, really. All things being equal, who are you going to want to work with? The people you like. So a lot of the lawyers, my favorite lawyers, have become part of my friend circle, and pretty close in my friend circle.
Now, is the 70% referral rate, is that because you guys are so niche specific and you are the experts in that particular law, and somebody presents them with a case that they're just not expert in, or is it just caseload? What is the driver of that preponderance of referrals?
It's a bit of both. We get quite a bit from opposing counsels, funny enough, because we're both professional and extremely effective, that, something comes up where they're conflicted out, they'll send it to us. Yeah, and we do it as well when we find nice attorneys we're up against or we're working a deal with. So that happens quite a bit. That also sometimes happens where we'll go ahead and offer them a job. So that happens now and again. Or just whoever you're working with, if they're in different areas, we get leads of all kinds. So, we're not going to do employee side employment law. It's just not what we do. But we have a whole list, and I'm told, and I pride myself on having one of the largest Rolodexes of any, of people in general, because I have very large social circles, which is extremely effective in law, as well as always having something to do. But,
do your new associates know the term Rolodex?
I actually asked this, and it turns out they do. So apparently that term has entered the vernacular, and they even know what the object looks like. I don't know how.
I'm old enough that I know very well what the object looks like. All right, look down the road a year from now, and this could be, your left turn signal could go on quickly, considering the path you've taken in the last 20 years. What are some things you'd like to be celebrating personally and professionally a year down the road?
Oh, a year? Opening up new practice areas. We're looking at, we're playing around with something well outside of our usual practice areas. So we're looking at personal injury, whether we mix out with the firm or not. We have some attorneys that have the experience and wouldn't mind kicking that off. But a year down the line, same thing. Show up at 10 a.m. after a workout at the gym and stay till 10 p.m. Take the weekends off. I don't call my people on weekends. They don't tend to work on weekends unless we're prepping for trial. It might be, as far as professionally, personally, probably planning a wedding. So we're working on that. You can cut that part out since I haven't asked you yet, but
Oh, wait.
but she's already chosen the diamond. We're making the ring right now. So I told her I can't ask her unless I know she's gonna like the ring. We do things out of order.
Well, that's a little transactional. I don't know.
Well, who wants a ring that's not perfect, and who wants to go rebuild it? And why should I have to guess? And what if it doesn't fit?
I appreciate your cynicism, my new friend. Really. All right. Please tell us, what's your URL? Where can people find Gleam Law, and what social media outlets are you using as well?
I mean, you have gleamlaw.com, like the gleam in your eye law.com. You can also, if you don't remember that, an easy way to find the website is assholelawyer.com or also assholeattorney.com. We own those and they just forward to the website. Sometimes I say here in buy domains, we let a number go because we just didn't exploit them. But those, you're never going to forget that, are you?
Oh, Neil Juneja, thank you for spending some time with us on Business Ninjas. I appreciate you putting a big grin on me today. All the best to you and yours and your impending nuptials and continued success at Gleam Law. And I'd love to hear where the breadcrumb trail takes you in terms of your next stage.
Absolutely. I will keep you informed. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Be well.